a transporter, a technician, a car dealer, a parts seller, or a potential owner? Then this program is for you. Join the mechanic Tunde Onakoya on Auto Clinic every Wednesday from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m. Ladies and gentlemen, let's rev up in 3, 2, 1.
Have you ever imagined how a brake system is designed and how it works? You see, an average vehicle could weigh as much as 7 tons. On the low end, you find them weighing about 1.2, 1.3 tons, which means that when you are driving that vehicle on the road and you are going down a hill or even uphill and you have no brakes, you have 1.7 tons of weight that you are rolling down the hill without a way to slow it down. That's how important brakes are on the vehicle. Welcome to Auto Clinic. It's another beautiful Wednesday morning and time is 10:31 a.m. on the 7th day in April 2021. This is your weekly dose of everything cars and vehicles related. You're welcome to Splash 105.5 FM, the best radio station and the most listened to radio station in Southwest Nigeria. Of course, I am Tunde Onakoya and this is Auto Clinic with the mechanic. I am the mechanic working with you today. If you are joining us for the first time or listening to this program for the first time, you have missed a whole lot. However, of course, you still have an opportunity to join that train, join the gang, and let's have that conversation on a weekly basis. We do this every Wednesday, and we dedicate to talking about cars and the automotive industry at large. Usually, we give you some news from the automotive world and discuss something very important that pertains to you having your cars and driving safely on the road. You can watch us live on facebook.com and search for Splash FM 105.5. Instagram is at Auto Clinic NG if you want to watch live right now. And of course, YouTube, Splash FM 1055. Go on there, view what's going on in the studio live. You can join us from anywhere in the world and see what is going on right now. As usual, we have lined up exciting stuff for your listening pleasure. And on today's episode, we'll be starting with updates from the automotive world. And then we'll be discussing the brake system on your vehicle. I hope you are grabbing a seat right now. Grab your headphones. Listen attentively. When we're done with that, we'll coast towards the phone lines for diagnosis of your vehicles. We'll be opening the phone lines very soon so that we can provide solutions to your automotive concerns. Of course, we'll start with the updates from the automotive world. And the first one is that Honda and Acura are recalling 628,124 vehicles for defective fuel pumps. Volvo is aiming to be an electronic vehicle only group by 2030. Now I'll give you the details. Honda and Acura have recalled 628,124 2019 and 2020 model vehicles, including the CR-V and Accord, for fuel pumps which can malfunction and cause the engine to lose power. Honda says the low-pressure fuel pumps have impellers that could deform with exposure to fuel. This results in the fuel pump module failing. So as you would imagine, that's not the ideal situation. So the fix will involve replacing the fuel pump, and Honda will replace the entire fuel pump module on affected vehicles free of charge. Of course, it should be free of charge. Owners of the affected vehicles will begin to get notifications starting 18th of May, and dealers will remedy the recall by replacing the fuel pumps. Owners can check the NHTSA recalls website to find out if their vehicle is affected. So if you drive any Acura or Honda in Nigeria, 2019-2020 model, now it's time to reach out to your vehicle dealer. Whoever sold the vehicle to you, reach out to them now Notify them of this recall, which could mean that your fuel pump will fail anytime soon. It's a very dangerous thing to happen. Reach out to them and ensure that they do the needful. Follow up with them as vigorously as you can. Next is that Volvo says it aims to become a fully electric vehicle company on the global level by 2030. The company says its transition towards becoming a fully electric car maker is part of its climate plan, which seeks to consistently reduce the life cycle carbon footprint of each vehicle. The Swedish car maker's decision also builds on the expectation that legislation, as well as rapid expansion of accessible, high-quality charging infrastructure, will accelerate consumers' acceptance of fully electric vehicles. We say big kudos to Volvo for doing that. And we keep saying that we cannot rely fully on oil in Nigeria, as the demand for oil to power cars is going to continuously decline over the years, and we will have to get ourselves into ensuring that we be competitive in the electronic vehicle industry. That is on the update from the automotive world. You're still listening to Auto Clinic on Splash 105.5 FM. I will be going on a commercial break very soon, and when I do that, after, I will open the phone line. So prepare, load up on credit. The number you're going to call today is 080-5699-8678. 080-5699-8678. I'll open the phone line so we can take all the questions we've not been able to take in the past few weeks and be able to resolve issues that you have regarding your car. But on today's discussion, the focus is on the brake system. Now, when we say brake, what really are we talking about when we say the brake system? See, a brake is a mechanical device that inhibits motion by absorbing energy from a moving system. It is used for slowing or stopping a moving vehicle, wheel, axle, or to prevent its motion. Most often, it's accomplished by means of friction. So you can't talk about brakes and not talk about friction. So if you are talking about your car being efficient when it comes to braking, it means that it's able to do friction, and the friction is going to generate heat, and your brake system will be able to dissipate the heat as fast as possible. So friction materials, including brake pads, are some of the things that is required for your brake to be effective. Now, you see, cars have brakes on all four wheels these days, and they are operated by usually an hydraulic system. Of course, we're talking about cars. When it comes to big trucks, they usually use the pneumatic brake type. Which is they use air for their brakes. The brakes are either disc type or drum type. These days, you have mostly disc type of brakes. Now, many cars have four-wheel disc brakes, although some of them will have disc in front. The older ones would have wheel drums on the rear end. Now, since the lion's share of stopping a car's forward momentum relies on the front brakes, the most effective disc brakes are deployed on the front wheels. So, the car brake system works in a few ways by converting the kinetic energy of movement into thermal energy, which is heat. I talked about heat earlier. Now, every time you push your foot towards the brake pedal, the force generated by your legs is amplified several times by mechanical leverage. Now, this mechanical leverage could be the hydraulic brake booster in some cases, and sometimes it's the pneumatic brake booster you have there. And sometimes you just have the electronic brake booster. Whichever one you have on your vehicle at that point in time, it has to be boosted. This is not the force with which you press the brake that stops your car. Now, a piston will move into the cylinder and squeeze the hydraulic fluid out of the other end. Now, when that has happened, the hydraulic brake fluid is forced around the entire brake system within a network of brake lines and hoses. So the brake fluid will travel all through those, and that pressure is transmitted equally to all four brakes as needed. Now, that force creates friction between the brake pads and disc brake rotors, which is what stops your vehicle. So that's how it works. You press the brake, it gets amplified, the hydraulic fluid flows through the lines, gets onto the piston on the slave cylinder, forcing the brake pads onto the discs. Now, when you have that happening, then you have a brake system. So there are various components that are, of course, included in this cycle, to actually make things work. You have the master cylinder. You have the brake rotor, which is also known as the brake disc. On some vehicles, you have the brake drum, you have brake pads, you have the brake caliper, you have the brake shoe, you have the brake booster, you have the brake pedal, you have the wheel speed sensor, the ABS module, and the brake lines. Now, you see that I've listed a number of items now that are responsible for efficient braking. We have about 12 of them that I've listed here, and on some vehicles, there are even way more than that, with a lot more computers that are introduced into the system. So when you talk about your brake system, there are so many components that could be wrong on your brake system. It's not all the time that is the master cylinder that is the problem. It's not all the time that you have the brake pad being the problem. Sometimes it could be anything else on that system that is having the problems. So what do each one of these components do? Of course, the master cylinder is where you apply the pressure. That's where the reservoir usually is, forces the fluids to go to the slave cylinders that you have on the discs, on the drum. That's with the caliper. That's what the master cylinder will do. The brake rotor, which is the disc. Of course, the disc is that one that you have the brake pad holding onto in front and at the rear end of the vehicle. This is an item that wears out. If this item wears out, you begin to have issues with your braking. Sometimes you press the brake at high speed and it begins to vibrate. Then you know that it's a possibility that your brake rotors are warped, cracked, damaged. Sometimes they even break if you have been using the wrong quality of brake pad. You have the brake drum as well. Of course, the brake drum uses brake shoe in there, which quality also varies as well. You find out the best for your vehicle and ensure you're using that. That's also it's a consumable. It wears out over time. You change your brake pad. You have the brake caliper as well. Now in this case, is holding on to the brake pads and forcing the brake pads against the brake drums or the brake discs in every application. By the time you press the brake, that must happen. Calipers can also be defective, especially if you have not been servicing your brakes at intervals. Yes, the caliper could go bad and could cause you having a braking defect. The brake shoe for the brake drums, in most cases, works with a parking brake. When you're using the handbrake, you engage the brake shoe, will squeeze against the drum, and then will cause the vehicle not to move forward, use it on the parking brake. And on some vehicles, it's also the one that's responsible for braking at the rear end if it is a drum brake at the rear end. So you have all of these systems on the car, and they could have developed a fault. These are components in the brake system. Of course, when it comes to the ABS as well, you see the ABS illumination coming on your dashboard. So just as the ABS system is not working at that point in time, could be the module, could be the wheel speed sensor, could be any other sensor on the braking system that is causing the ABS indicator to come on. When the ABS indicator comes on, what you notice is that you in most cases have your brakes working, but in an emergency, when you slam on the brakes, the ABS will not be able to kick in and your braking will not be efficient in an emergency. So that's how these systems, that's how they work, especially on the brake system. You're still listening to Auto Clinic with the Mechanic on Splash 105.5 FM. This week, we're focusing on the brake system, and we have been discussing the various components that you find on the brake system that could go defective at some point and cause your brake to fail, or signs that your brake is failing. So how do you get to know that, oh, looks like my brake is failing? I mean, it's something you need to know. One of it is that you notice that your brake warning light could come on. If the brake warning light comes on the dashboard, it's important to have it checked out by a mechanic as soon as possible. But first, check to see that your parking brake is not engaged, meaning your handbrake is not engaged. If it's slightly engaged, the brake light will show on the dashboard. Also, you must be sure that you have sufficient brake fluid in the reservoir you have in front. Meaning, go there, open up the bonnet, open up the brake fluid reservoir. Most of them are translucent. You can see the level of brake fluid in there. If it is below the minimum mark, definitely the brake light will come on. If it is dangerously low, you could have total brake failure. So you want to get, at that point in time, get brake fluid and top it up. But if you continuously have to top off your brake fluid, then there's a bigger problem. That bigger problem is that there's a leakage in the brake system. Sometimes you are lucky enough to have the leakage visible on the exterior of the vehicles, And if you have it visible, you'll notice it on the wheels. Check the wheels. Is any of the wheels wet or damp in front, at the rear end? Any sign of brake fluid under the vehicle? You're lucky. But sometimes the leakage is internal, where you find that leakage from the master cylinder into the servo. That's the brake booster. If it continuously leaks into the brake booster, then you're still going to have brake failure. And you would not find it easily that you have brake fluid leakage. You just think that the brake fluid is being used up. Brake fluid does not get used up. Brake fluid basically will remain in the system until it is fouled by excess moisture, and you will have to change it out at that point. But that the car is running on brake fluid, your brake fluid should not continuously go down. Save that your part is going down. You're still listening to Auto Clinic with the mechanic on Splash 105.5 FM. I'll go on a quick commercial break now. When I come back, we'll continue this conversation, and at that point, the phone lines will be open. Remember, number to call 080-5699-8678. Don't go away. Don't go away.
Chidi, now where you dey go dey jump road up and down?
Na papa say make I buy am shakis.
Shagini? Oh, I don't tell this man say make you no dey send this boy buy alcohol now. Papa Chidi, abeg no dey send this pikin buy shakis o.
Mama Chidi, why now? No be buy I say make him buy. Make I no dey send a message again.
Papa Chidi, you no know say na small before you go wan know how the thing dey taste, eh? And if that one come happen, when you come dey drink am, na big problem be that o.
He reach that one?
Yes, so Papa Chidi, he reach. Person wey never reach 18 no suppose touch alcohol. Papa Chidi, you hear me so? Even the Federal Ministry of Health talk say alcohol na for only person wey don reach 18.
Okay, I don hear. I no go send am again. In fact, make I go tell am myself. Chidi!
Na Distillers and Blenders Association of Nigeria, DBAN, wey be subsector of Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, bring una this message.
The BBC News World Service app makes listening to your favorite programs on your phone even easier. And for times when you can't use Wi-Fi or data to listen, just hit the call to listen button in the middle of the screen.
This is the BBC World Service.
Call to listen is only available in selected territories. For dial-up news services, standard geographic mobile charges will apply. Please check with your provider for exact cost before calling. Download the BBC News World Service app from your usual store.
You don't wait for life. You go to meet life. It's not about how many chances you get. It's what you do with what you've got. Morning after morning, cup after cup. Start strong, finish strong. With the stimulating aroma and rich, creamy taste of Nescafe 3-in-1. It all starts with Nescafe.
Since I switched to Mamador 100% pure cooking oil, family meal times have been so rewarding. You see, Mamador 100% pure cooking oil is cholesterol-free and contains omega-6 and 9, proven to keep heart healthy. Not only that, it also makes my food taste delicious.
You sure know how to take care of my stomach.
And your heart, especially. Switch to Mamador and enjoy healthy and tasty meals. Mamador is tested and approved by the Nigerian Heart Foundation. Cook with Mamador. Your heart will thank you.
My people, better don land. Make una come see ogbonge cable wey dem manufacture for we obodo Nigeria. Na Pure cables. Pure cables na correct electrical cable wey dey reliable, dependable, and the people wey dem make am call dey safety conscious. Pure cables get original copper and aluminium cable for different sizes dem wey you fit use for electrical wiring level for anywhere. Whether na your house, abi na your office, the price nko e no dey tear pocket at all. Nationwide distribution don start. For more information, call 0808 030 3257. 0808 030 3257. Pure Cable and Wire Limited. They have print compound, 40 gates, 122/132. Also, the Apapa Expressway, Iyano Solo Bus Stop, Lagos. Pure Cables, Nigerian electrical contractors endorser, SON approver. Pure Cables, na Yubico.
Rice and good days breakfast. Yummy. With Mamador spread for bread. Yummy. We like it sweet and buttery taste. Yummy. We love to have it with our bread. Yummy. Nutrition. Mamador spread for bread. We like it. Mamador spread for bread. Delicious. Mamador spread for bread. We love it. Mamador spread for bread.
Mamador spread for bread. It gives you the right nutrients and energy to be your best each new day. New Mamador spread for bread, deliciously nourishing for a bright start.
Are Are you a car owner, a transporter, a technician, a car dealer, a parts seller, or a potential owner? Then this program is for you. Join the mechanic Tunde Onakoya on Auto Clinic every Wednesday from 10:30 a.m. to 11 a.m.
Welcome back to Auto Clinic and some Splash 105.5 FM in Ibadan here. And for those listening and watching from all over the world, I can see Sakenayo here. He's not in Nigeria right now and he's watching. Thank you very much for joining. Your audience is very much appreciated. For those listening on the radio, thank you very much for continuously joining us every time. We don't take your listenership for granted. So that's why we're opening the phone lines now. And what we're doing with the phone lines is to take your questions. If you have issues with your car, the line is open now. Begin to call in. Number to call 08056998678. When you call in, let's make it brief, straight to the point, and reduce the volume on your radio so we don't get that feedback that can be very, very intrusive on our eardrum. So please, let's make sure that we're not doing that. So number to call 08056998678. If you have any issue with your car, time to call in. I got a question on Instagram while we're on the break. Somebody was asking, how do you know if your brake pad is going down? It's simple. Let's take that call first. Hello, good morning. Turn down the volume of your radio, please.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from. I'm fine, thank you.
Hello?
Can you turn down the volume on your radio, please? Oh, please do try to call back and ensure that the volume on your radio is as low as possible, or just turn it off so that we won't get that feedback. That feedback, like I said, it's very bad. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
I am Afiz. I'm calling from Monia.
Afiz from Monia. Please go ahead with your question. Make it very brief.
Okay. I have a Toyota Camry 2007.
Okay.
I stand onto the car and I got this code E00128. Okay. It is a camshaft ignition timing over reverse tank 1.
Did you say it is?
Camry 2007.
2007. Camshaft positions. Did you have any work done on that car recently?
There's been a work done on the car.
On the engine, I mean.
About a year ago.
Okay, what work was done? Did they have to take out the timing chain?
Yes.
Then the timing is not correct. Whoever set that timing did not set it correctly. It could be missing maybe one tooth on the gear that is just misaligned. They would need to get that redone. So you need to get to your mechanic now, and it has made it very clear. It says timing is over retarded, which means that the engine power will not be as high as should be. So what you will need to do is get to your mechanic. He needs to align the timing, the ignition timing. The markers are on both camshafts. The difference between the intake and the exhaust camshaft is usually about 8 links on that 2AZ engine. If it is a 4-cylinder 2AZ engine, it's usually about 8 links. And just make sure that those 8 links are aligned properly and the timing mark is correct, and you will not have a problem with that. Okay, thank you very much, Afiz, for calling. Number to call 08056998678. If you have issues with your car, please do call in, interrupt while this conversation is ongoing, and let's get to attend to it. Okay, so the question that came during the break was about somebody asking how a layman will know if the brake pad is going down. And I said, if you have a new brake pad on your car, ensure that the level of fluid in the reservoir is at the maximum, not above maximum. As the brake pad is going down, you begin to see the fluid going down as well. So the level of the fluid will determine for you the level of brake pads you have on the car. So if it gets to the minimum in terms of brake fluid, fluid, then you know that your brake pad will be on the minimum. The idea of continuously topping off your brake fluid as every time it goes low, you lose that advantage of knowing the level of your brake pad. Unfortunately, by the time you even put a new brake pad and the calipers, the pistons are returned to their default mode, what will happen is that the brake fluid will just overflow. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning.
Hello?
Good morning. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning, sir. Well done.
Yes, your name and where you're calling from. Mrs. Shinyobola. From Akpata, Ibadan. Okay, please go ahead with your question.
My car, whenever I want to start selling in the morning, will be, I think, one start at once.
Okay.
Do you get?
Yes, I do.
So if you make a long time, then after that, I will help you then start again.
Okay.
So then my nose, my hands are, but sometimes my nose. You get?
Okay, so what vehicle is it?
So I Hyundai i10, 2010.
2010 Hyundai i10.
Hyundai i10.
You're having hard starting. So what has your mechanic done?
Sorry?
What has your mechanic done on it so far?
Yes, I've been to mechanic. They changed the platform.
Okay.
They checked from several things, but see, the still there.
It's still there.
Don't want to stop me.
Okay. Just listen from the radio. Thank you very much for calling. Okay, so she has a Hyundai i10 that is, she's getting hard starting, as you put it, in the morning. The car won't start at once. A number of things could be the cause for that. You could have a fuel pump that is bad, that the pressure is very low, or not holding on to pressure. Now, a mechanic cannot use his eyes or use his hand to test if fuel pump is good enough. You can only use an appropriate tool, a fuel pump tester. Now, that fuel pump tester will be able to test the working pressure of the fuel pump and the static pressure. What's the pressure when the pump is coming on? What's the pressure when the pump is running? And then when they turn it off, we'll be able to determine if the fuel pressure is being held in the line or is just draining back into the tank. And these are some of the things that will cause hard starting on the fuel pump issue. Of course, you also have an ignition coil pack on that vehicle. It's a 2010 vehicle, and the coil pack could actually start aging or have been aging already. That is something you have to look into. Your mechanic will have to look into if the coil pack is supplying electricity as it should. Also, the plug wires themselves. For a 2010, the plug wires are about 11 years old. If you can get a new set of coil wires now, it's something that you should consider actually changing the coil wires. But get your mechanic to check all of these things. The car is not a complicated one at all. Get your mechanic to check it out properly. The fuel system, the ignition system, which includes the spark plug, and of course the last thing will be the air system. Those are the three components that make about good starting for you in the morning. Fuel, air system, which is now you're looking at the air filter component, and the spark. You check these three. If those three are fine and your car is still not starting in the morning, you most likely have an engine compression issue, which is a much more complicated one, and your mechanic can also test for that. So that's what you need to do. I hope that solves the problem. Hello, good morning. Let's take that call. Hello, good morning. Morning. Your name and where you're calling from, please.
Okay, I'm Ben. I'm calling you from Badon.
All right, Ben. Go ahead with your question.
I use a Toyota Corolla 2008.
2008. Okay.
I was 2009. That's what I did.
Okay.
So I want to ask. I want to be clear on something. So my vehicle had issues. I took it to my mechanic to fix it. And then the maintenance required light is still on.
Okay.
And lately, the check engine oil is coming on. I've been worried. But they told me that I will go to, they will take me to somewhere, then they will clear it. Now, I am worried that the manufacturer put those indicators there for a purpose.
Yes.
So is it true that when they maintain the engine, those lights on until they are cleared? Or
when you say maintain the engine, what did they do? When you say maintain the engine, what did they do exactly?
Okay, the first time, I just changed the oil.
Okay.
The oil, he brought out, I was on the trip, so he brought out maintenance required. So
Okay.
immediately I came back, I changed the oil.
Okay.
Then the maintenance required light didn't go out.
Okay.
Until, and this was November. So I've been using it that way, making me feel that it's not, I just need to clear it. Then lately, my pump had issues out sometimes last week.
Fuel pump, right? Fuel pump, right?
Yeah, the fuel pump. So they replaced it. Obviously, the one they replaced it with was not good. Because the light on, the vehicle was still giving the symptom. I have to take it back.
Hello. Oh wow. Oh, I think we lost that call. Okay, but I think I seem to have gotten these questions very clearly. One, the fuel pump that is not. The maintenance required is not normal. As soon as you service, your mechanic should be able to do a reset of that system. Second one is the check engine light. Please go to a center where they can run a diagnosis on your car, and they'll be able to resolve that issue for you. Unfortunately, we've run out of time. We've used up all the time we have right now. But today I have worked with Aziz and Elizabeth as my studio manager and research assistant respectively. Special gratitude to you for joining us online, offline. Till I come your way again next week with another exciting episode of the program, I remain the mechanic, Tunde Onakoya, telling you to ensure that you take care of your car and the car will take care of you. Thank you very much for listening.
You have just listened to Auto Clinic. Let's continue the conversation.